In Pakistan, the ownership of PPP has really increased of late because everybody realizes there is a need for infrastructure, and the finances of the government are already squeezed because of the war and terror and the budget deficit. So they are looking for the private sector too, or somebody from the foreign bring in foreign investment. So there is a focus on PPPs for that reason. Another reason is that they think they can tap user fees and tolls through that, because there is not really a culture in Pakistan to have tolls and user fee and taxes. So they want to implement that culture as well to reduce the budget deficit as well. So that is big, and especially two sectors that they are really looking to implement through PPPs. One is toll roads, and the other one is alternate energy, which includes solar, wind, and even hydro projects as well. So these are the things that are really going to be big in terms of PPPs going forward. In the power sector, we have the Alternate Energy Development Board, which is already doing wind power projects, and they have done that very successfully. They've already done a small hydel power project of about 75 megawatt, and that is also, I think, commissioned already, and that was also a success. They've recently entered the solar market. There hasn't been a project, but they are in the bidding process. And one good thing that they have done is they have announced upfront tariffs. So people are taking their bids, making their projects, and taking them to the Alternate Energy Board for approval. So they are moving very fast on that, on the alternate energy side. On the road side, although if you look at the world map of the PPPs, usually every country goes for road PPPs. In Pakistan, people don't understand that PPPs are not free lunches. When you go to the bank, they usually ask for a guarantee or some sort of thing. But the government is not willing to give guarantees on the toll or go for an NVT model. So even though in Sindh we have done a few PPPs, some were BOT, some were NVT model, but at the federal level, the understanding of the BOT model in terms of minimum revenue guarantee or how to repay the debt is not really there at the moment. So it will take some time. They have done a couple of projects, but they were with state-owned enterprises, and they were largely funded by state-owned banks as well. So there was a good amount of political will behind that instead of the project being viable in itself. So I think that will still take a couple of years to really mature. While on the alternate energy side, it's going to go through. They've already have the case studies in place now. I think the most important thing is to PPPs take their sweet time. It's not going to happen overnight. That can't really happen. You have to have the PPP units, the viability gap fund, have the proper feasibility done, because the private sector is not going to take a call when they don't know the data, how the things are going to move forward. So government needs to do proper feasibility. What has happened of late is that government has launched a few projects under traditional procurement, and what they have done in that is that they've started work on the road, and people are happy about it. But at times those projects linger on for very long. For example, there is a project in very important project in Karachi, which is the biggest city in Pakistan. It started in 2003 at 3 billion rupees cost, which is in today's money around $30 million. It's still not complete. The government has already spent $110 million on it, and the estimate is that it will go up to around $150 million. So in public procurement, they start the work on the site, but they are not able to deliver. So they need to understand that PPPs will take their sweet time, but they will at the end of the day deliver. Another thing is that I think the government needs to not involve politicians in the project structuring scale. Keep the political and bureaucratic pressures of the PPP unit at least for the next 5 years, so that they have the pilot projects on ground, after which they can push them to do a lot more projects, but at least keep these pressures off them for the next 3-4 years at least. PPPs are going to be huge in Asia, because Asia has a very good young population which needs infrastructure, educational facilities, energy. So the need for infrastructure is there, and the economies are growing, so eventually the commercial viability will also going to be there. One thing that I observe is that we were just talking to the Mongolia representative, you talk to the Bangladeshi people, you talk to Nepal, everybody is looking at China for the funds, because everybody is looking at, because of the young population trying to do huge projects, and they don't have the money to do that, and they are looking at China. So I think China might turn out to be the main, you can say, private equity for PPP sort of country or hub for the foreseeable future, Because I know, like in Pakistan, I meet a Chinese company every week. Not all of them are there for the PPP, they are mainly there for the EPC, but some of them are now venturing into the PPP territory. And everybody is looking at China because they know China has the funds to invest in PPP projects across Asia. So the need is there, and the governments will have to do it because they have a very big, large, young pool of population that will need it, which can pay in the future as well because economies are growing largely. And China is going to be the hub from where all the money is going to come in.